This is Representative Pam Altendorf coming live at you from the Minnesota State Capitol. I am on the ground floor, and as I was leaving my committee meeting today here earlier, I noticed that there is a new display here at the State Capitol, and it's for Governor Walz. It's right here on display. So let me see. I mean, I guess I can't flip my phone, but I'll see if I can show it to you. This is what we have here, everyone. Let me read it to you. The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the State Capitol building. Satan has a special place for you. That's right, everyone. So the Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers, they have given some sort of plaque here to Governor Tim Walz. So let me be the first, I guess, to congratulate Governor Tim Walz for this very special award that has come from the Satan worshippers here in the Minnesota State Capitol. Yes, everyone, this is true. I am live, not making this up. You can't make this up. I don't know what else to say. I would think if you're Governor Tim Walz, you could choose not to have up this plaque. I don't know why a governor of a state would want this plaque, but there it is. Let me show you. Here we are, live at the State Capitol, and the Satan worshipers have thanked Governor Tim Walz. And let me repeat this. The last line says, Satan has a special place for you. I'm speechless. This is Representative Pam Altendorf coming.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories be unto Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Written Millstone. They're doing their well. Peace and blessings be unto the elect. All right, and this is Brother Dawadah from GMS Detroit Camp coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem HaKodash. Today I want to do another in transit. The title of this video will be concerning, or I'm not sure what the title will be, but Lord's will, it'll be edifying. And what I actually ended up doing was I actually fact checked this. I went on, what do you call it? I went on Google. To fact check this, and this is accurate. But this is not from this year. This is from 2024. All right. This is from December of 2024. All right. And when you read these articles, you know, basically what they say is that this Satanist group, you know, put up their, got permission to put their statue up within Minnesota, you know, and basically the statue was up for 2 weeks. And when the governor was questioned about it, you know, basically he says that, you know, they have a First Amendment right to, you know, to believe in what they want, you know, and not so many words. All right. And there's different articles about it. And for whatever reason, it's resurfacing on social media. All right. But let me see. Yeah, this plaque, this was posted 19 hours ago. All right, at least on this Facebook page. Now, going back to 2024, and I wish they would have the actual picture of it. Let's see. All right, it says Satanist holiday display at Minnesota Capitol sparks outrage. A satanic holiday display at the Minnesota Capitol. Minnesota State Capitol has some sounding the alarm, but Governor Tim Walz says he can't take it down as it is protected by the First Amendment. But I thought this was a God-fearing nation. And this article is dated back in 2024. Okay, you see the statue here, all right, with what looks to be like a phoenix, and you got a goddamn pentagram up there, you know. Now, the this sign that she shows,
Coalition of Satan.
this is a different plaque. This plaque's different. All right, so, I'm led to believe based off of these two different plaques that one is recent, all right, and the other instance was back in 2024. Now, I was trying to find something for today, or at least this year. I can't really find anything, so I don't know if they put up two statues or if it's just the one. I don't really have enough information on that. All right, because there's not much information on this right now. For whatever reason, there's not much information on this. All right, but here it is. Yeah, see, most of these comments are from today. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is currently still up. I don't know if this is, if they put up two statues back in 2024 and this video just so happened to resurface. There's not a whole lot of information on this topic right now. All we know is that they, at one point, whether it's current or whether this was back in 2024, that there was a satanic plaque put up in the Minnesota Capitol, and here it is, the governor defended it. All right, and I'm led to believe, based off of the recent or how recent these different comments were and when this video was posted, I'm led to believe that this is based off of something that took place, all right, this year, all right. But nevertheless, whether this took place now or when I say now, I mean this year, whether it's referring to a plaque that was put up in 2024, although both of them look different, it didn't say whether they put up one or more than one. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we know that these Democrats, so-called, and the so-called Republicans, pursuant to Revelation 13 and 11, right, it says he had two horns like a lamb and he spake as a dragon. You have people that will say, oh, well, I'm Democrat. The Republicans are evil. You have others that say, oh, I love the Republicans. The Democrats are evil. No, both groups are wrong, all right? Both the Republicans and the Democrats are wicked, because it goes back to what? The two horns that are upon the same beast. Back in ancient Rome, you had the plebeians and you had the patricians, all right? The two opposing parties, all right? They call it a bipartisan system, which the word system means pit. So even if you go to the Democrats, you fall into that pit. You go into the Republicans, you also fall into that pit. All right? And what is the pit? Confusion. Because both parties are just doing the bidding of the international bankers, but they give the people the illusion of having a choice. All right? The illusion of choice. But your choices really don't matter, because at the end of the day, these elites will push whatever agenda they want. Don't matter if it's Republican or if it's a Democrat. These elites don't care. All they want is their agenda pushed. Point blank, period. Okay? Don't be deceived by Esau's confusion. And now more so than ever, because we're seeing more and more, bits of confusion from this devil. Like this whole ICE thing with all these different hired protesters that they're showing. And there's different information coming out about them hiring up protesters. Just I believe it was either today or yesterday, you had so-called, looked to be, I think they were National Guard or some military group, basically some government or some branch of the military, deployed some troops over there to Minnesota, all right, and they're passing, I believe it was in Minnesota specifically, but they're passing out donuts and cupcakes to protesters. And people look at that and they're like, oh my goodness, this is a great thing. Oh, that's so nice of them. When you think about it, a lot of these different protesters, if you notice, they're not Latinos, so-called. They're Edomites. So all they're doing is giving a little coffee break to their employees. All right? Because a lot of them protesters are set up. Okay? Problem, reaction, solution, or whatever. And there's different clips that have come out showing you that, certain of those protesters are actually just that, paid protesters, But anyways, going back to this clip, all right, both the Democrats and the Republicans are off. All right, both groups are off. They just do the bidding of the international bankers. All right, and that's why when they get into office, when these different mayors, governors, different, state representatives and politicians, when they get into office, if you notice, the majority of them promises that they promise to make, them lofty promises of making everything better, it's all BS, because when they get in office, they don't do those different things. You see? And even if they wanted to, they can't. Because why? These international bankers don't want the benefit of the people. Shit, the international, excuse my Swedish, the international bankers are evil, even unto their own kind. You would think that they will give their fellow Edomites a fair shake. But no, Esau is down in the dumps too. If you look up the majority of people who are actually on welfare, it's not who they say it is. It's not so-called black people that don't want to get a job. No, it's actually Edomites. All right? But they don't push that on the forefront. Anytime you hear of WIC, SNAP, EBT, you always hear, it's a whole bunch of black people on there. Oh my goodness. But how often do they speak about the so-called white people that are on there? Not very often. So the point being that the Democrats and the Republicans, they all do the bidding of the international bankers. Point blank period. All right? They all do their bidding. And they can't do things for the benefit of the people, because the international bankers don't want that. They're gonna get whatever proposition they come up with to help everybody out is gonna get shot down. All right. Now I saw a clip on Instagram where you had this individual. I believe this story came out this year. I saw it this year, and I believe the story was about an event that took place this year. An individual was collecting rainwater, and he actually got arrested for it. Ain't that something? You had another individual. It just left me. It came to me and then left me. But this, came back. Yeah, the individual that was a farmer, and he wasn't using GMO seeds, or he wasn't spraying it with pesticides. And you had some government suits, some two individuals from some corporation, or either from some corporation or from some government entity, and they pulled up and they had them confiscate. It was milk actually. It was milk, and they weren't doing the process that what do they call it? I think it's called pasteurization or something like that. Well, basically, these individual farmers, they didn't do that process. They didn't do a certain process pertaining to the milk, and you had individuals come up and force them to throw away tons and tons of milk. And them farmers lost a whole lot of money behind that. But why? Why did that happen? Because they didn't step to the beat of the rules and regulations that were put in place, which were designed to oppress the people. All right? How many of these farmers can actually say, well, you know what? I don't use any pesticides, no herbicides, no insecticides. This is all non-GMO. We made sure that there were no chemtrails in the air when we around our farm. How many of these farmers can actually say that? But Esau, he makes them use the herbicides, the insecticides, the pesticides, the GMO seeds, so on and so forth. Why? Because it destroys the people. The scripture says, "He that is evil unto himself, to whom shall he be good?" Esau, Edom, he's even wicked toward his own kind. His own people are eating GMO. His fellow Edomites are eating GMOs. His fellow Edomites have chemtrails in the air. His fellow Edomites don't have a fair shake. His fellow Edomites are on welfare. But Esau doesn't care for them. All right? When I say Esau, let me be more specific. The international bankers, which are small hats, they don't care for these lower, these lesser Edomites. They don't care for them. So, understanding that the top wicked elite are wicked, and understanding that these Democrats and these Republicans, two horns like a lamb, because they They come on to you as if they're righteous. They're trying to help you out. But it says what? And he spake as a dragon, right? Which goes back to the word Draco, which means, that's where you get the word dragon from, which simply means cruel, So you notice them two horns are upon that same beast, okay? In other words, all right, it's the illusion that they're opposing parties, but in reality, they just do the bidding of the elite. And we know that the elites are heavy into witchcraft and wickedness. All right, I gave you plenty of examples of the wickedness of these international bankers, even onto their own kind. Okay, so if they're doing all this to the people, what makes you think that they'll get upset over a satanic statue being put up within the within Minnesota's capital? They don't have a problem with that, and they're not going to say anything negative about it. Why? Because the scripture says, when the ungodly curseth Satan, he curseth his own soul. So he can't speak against something that he's down for. All right? It's called, that'll be called hypocrisy. It's called hypocrisy. All right? So that's why they put up a satanic statue over there within the state capital of Minnesota, and the governor did not have a problem with it. Well, you know what? We got to defend their First Amendment rights. But wait a minute. Let's say you had a group of some zealous Christians, and they want to put up a so-called black image of whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but with a woolly afro, a woolly beard, and very dark skin. But they want to put this plaque up within the state capitol. Do you honestly believe the state governor, Tim Walz of Minnesota, would allow that statue to be put up there? Hell no, he wouldn't. But he would allow this satanic statue to get put up over there, because that's whom he believes in. He believes in Satan. All right? A great movie that shows you that is that movie, One Battle After Another, which I highly recommend. All right, and it shows you that these top brass of the military, that they're juiced in. All right, shows you, these different, big wigs of today's society, they're juiced in. And by juiced in, I mean that they're into witchcraft, and they believe in the left hand energy, and they believe in Satan. Just watch that movie. One Battle After Another. And another great movie that came out last year is the movie Him. All right, I think it's called Him. It's either Him or I'm Him. It's like a football movie, but they show you that these big wigs, these different individuals that people look up to, within the society, they believe in Satan and in witchcraft. Just check out check that movie out, and you'll see it. All right, so keeping all that in mind, understand this, these different individuals, all right, that are high up within this society, these governors, these mayors, which they're nothing, the president, vice president, these are lesser luminaries, and they all do the bidding of the international bankers. And if they try to get out of line and not push the agenda of these top wicked elite, they at least get them up out of there. They get them up out of there. And they don't only do it to different leaders within America. They'll do it to people overseas as well. All right? If people overseas, the leaders of these nations don't want to step to the beat of these elites, they go in their bag, like Jake says, I'm in my bag. Jake will say things like that. But meaning what? They're going to, scheme. Esau's scheme. He will send his economic hitmen. All right, look up the term jackal. Look up that term. And then he'll send in his different hired up protesters. And either that leader takes the deal that's presented before them, and if they refuse, then they got hell to pay. And he tries to force that leader into submission. That's how these devils get down. They're not righteous, all right? They're wicked. So you may say, are you talking about all white people? No, it's not a white thing. It's not a black thing. All right? It's a thing of nationality. Edomites. You have people that look so-called white, but they're actually Israelites. Just as much as you have people that look dark as Ace of Spades, but they're actually Edomites. It's a thing of nationality. All right? It's about the spirit within that individual. Okay? So things like this don't surprise us. A satanic plaque gets put up in Minnesota and the governor defends it. The governor allows it to happen. But here it is. You have, different portraits of slavery getting taken down. That can get taken down. But the Satan statue can get put up. That should show you that. And I thought this was a God-fearing nation. In God do we trust. It's on the back of your dollar bill. In God do we trust. God bless America. What happened to all that? That just went out the window. Psalm 50 and 16. But to the wicked, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing that thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee? So you ain't got nothing to do with this Bible. You got nothing to do with the Bible. And then when we bring up these different allegations, these different things in your track record, you want to get angry. Esau gets angry when you bring out the truth behind, his wickedness. He gets angry. But you're the one that did the crime. And when Yahushua comes back, that's the beginning of you doing your time. And that's why at this point, they're just coming blatantly out with it. Like, yep, this is what we do. This is what they believe in, and that's that. That's why you have movies, especially last year, is getting more and more blatant what they do behind closed doors. They're just showing you at this point. Again, check out those two movies. The movie Him and the movie One Battle After Another. All right? So with that, I'm going to leave it there. All praises, honors, and glories be unto Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai, Baal Shem HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles, my elders, the great millstone, that do anywhere well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the members of the elect, the hopeful elect, and the 1/3. With that being said, Shalom. Barak Akim, and the few that listen. Shalom.